Hey ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Elton here, just to help you out with point-slope form and your homework a little bit. If you understood slope-intercept form and how to graph with it, this is just an extra step. It's so easy. Here's an example of an equation in point-slope form, and the reason why we write equations in this form is that it's just easy to do. It's far easier to do than slope-intercept form. But assuming we're given one, let's talk about the parts of this, and I think it's helpful just to look at what each of these parts mean using algebra. So if I look up here, I've got all these different variables, all these letters, and I know it looks like a mess. But let's start with one that you should be familiar with, m. m, if you remember in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, m is the slope. And so in this equation, I know immediately that 3 is my slope. So if I have a point already graphed on a coordinate plane, let's just say over here somewhere in the first quadrant, and I know my slope is 3, all I need to do from this point is to go up 3 and over 1, up 3 and over 1, and I can go ahead and graph this line really easily. So the slope is just obvious based on this equation. It's always the number in front of this term right here. It's this number in front. It might be a whole number, it might be a fraction. It might not even be there, and if it's not, if you think about that, if this number just went away, that means really the number that's there right now is an implied 1. So again, just like before, if you had a 1x, 1 would be your slope. Now 1 would be our slope if we didn't have anything there. But anyways, moving on from this, this whole thing, the y minus x minus, this is just some coordinate. Okay, ignore the minus sign. The minus sign is actually supposed to be there in the original if you look up here. So really, we're just interested in this part, excluding the minus sign. I know that's different. In the past, we've liked to include those, but y1 is 4 and x1 is 1. Again, ignoring the minus signs. And knowing that actually gives me an ordered pair. If you think about x1, y1 as just an example of some coordinate, some ordered pair in the coordinate plane, that means that one point, 1, 4, both positive, this is some coordinate that falls on this line. Okay, and if you know a coordinate and you know the slope, then we should be able to graph it. If you'd like to know where the heck this comes from, we'll talk a little more about that tomorrow in class, but I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with this formula for slope. y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x sub 1. It has something to do with that. Like, if you solved for this right here, we would get something very similar to point slope form. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Anyways, I'm going to move on and talk about how to graph really quick, because I know that that's part of your homework tonight. So I'm actually going to walk you through, I don't know, a problem very similar to number 8 on your homework. And let's just call this, I don't know, y minus 2 equals, I don't know, 1/3 x minus 3. And again, step 1 is to find the ordered pair. And again, the ordered pair is just the number that is being subtracted from x and y. Be careful with the order. I know that 2 is listed first, but that goes with y. And this 3 is really what should be going first, because we always write our x before our y. Again, notice I'm ignoring the minus signs. Do note that if I had a plus sign, if this said plus 3, I would then make that a negative 3. I actually do the opposite of this sign. We'll talk more about that tomorrow in class, but for now, just trust me. This is 3, 2. I'm going to go ahead and graph that point. And now from this point, I'm just going to use my slope of 1/3 to go ahead and graph this. I'm going to go up 1, right 3. Oops, I did 1/2, I think. Up 3, up 1, right 3, up 1, right 3. I can even do the opposite. I can go down 1, left 3. 2 negatives make a positive. Down 1, left 3. If I do all of that correctly, and I draw a line through all of this, I then could figure out that I have a y-intercept of 1, but without knowing that from the start, I still can graph this as long as I have that point of 3, 2. Still works. If you have more questions about that, don't hesitate to shoot me an email or look something else up. Khan Academy has some great videos and resources on this as well. Hope that made a little more sense to you. Again, find the point, which is just what's in these parentheses in order x, y. Then from that point, use the slope to graph your line. Thanks, guys. I hope that helped.